I'm standing at the convergence of two ages. Before me, the Paris of 1500, a city of soaring Gothic piety and crowded, timbered lanes still bearing the scars of the plague and the 100 Years' War. Yet, if you know where to look, a new spirit is stirring, carried on the currents of the Italian Renaissance. I am Lisa, and in this reconstruction, woven from historical maps, illuminated manuscripts, and architectural evidence, we will not merely observe history. We will walk through a pivotal moment, tracing the delicate transition from a medieval fortress city to a beacon of royal power and humanist thought. We will stand where stone meets ambition, and where the future of a capital is being forged. Our journey begins at the physical and symbolic heart of the city, the Seine. The river is the lifeblood of Paris, twice as wide as it is today, without its stone embankments. A bustling highway for grain barges from the surrounding plains and wine transports from upriver. We are approaching from the north, along the important trade route from Flanders. The first sight is not a building, but a wall. The fortifications of Charles V, completed in the last century, rise to encircle the expanded city. We pass through the Porte Saint-Denis. This is not just a gate. It is a statement of defense and control. The walls themselves, recently modified to withstand cannon fire, speak of a kingdom still consolidating its power after generations of conflict. Inside the walls, the city swallows us. The transition is immediate and visceral. The streets are narrow, averaging just 4 meters wide, canyon-like channels between buildings that stretch 4, even 5 stories high, leaning inward as if sharing secrets. The ground is a mosaic of mud, straw, and refuse. The air is a complex tapestry of smells, wood smoke from 1,000 hearts, the pungent aroma of tanneries by the Bivry River, the scent of baking bread from communal ovens, and the ever-present, earthy odor of a dense population living close to the earth. The sounds are a constant murmur of commerce, chatter, and the clatter of cartwheels on stone. This is the fabric of daily life for the 150,000 souls who call Paris home. A population recovering and growing after the plagues of the previous centuries, we make our way toward the island that birthed the city, the Le de la Cité. To cross from the right bank, we traverse the Pont au Change, lined with the shops and homes of the city's money changers. The island itself is dominated by 2 profound symbols of medieval power, spiritual and royal. To the east, the Cathedral of Notre-Dame, its 2 towers complete for over 200 years, stands as the epitome of the French Gothic style born here. Its flying buttresses are masterpieces of engineering, stone made to appear weightless, directing the eye and the soul heavenward. But just to the west, connected to the royal palace, is a jewel of a different kind, Sainte-Chapelle. Built by King Louis IX in the 13th century to house sacred relics, it is a testament to a different kind of ambition, royal piety as divine authority. Stepping inside the upper chapel is like entering a crystal reliquary. Walls are replaced by 15-meter-high stained glass windows, a kaleidoscope of blue and red depicting over 1,000 biblical scenes. The stone structure is so delicate, so dissolved in light, it feels less like a building and more like a vision. This is where the Gothic pursuit of light reaches its most sublime conclusion. A royal chapel proclaiming the king as the intermediary between heaven and France. Adjacent to Sainte-Chapelle lies the Palais de la Cité, the medieval seat of kings. By 1500, it is no longer the primary royal residence. The kings prefer the comfort of the Louvre or castles like Vincennes, but it remains the administrative and judicial heart of the kingdom. We can see the conciergeries' massive, vaulted hall of the men-at-arms, where palace guards once dined, and the 4 formidable towers that line the Seine, including the oldest, the Tour Bonbec. This complex is a machine of state, a place of law, treasury, and bureaucracy, signaling that Paris is now firmly established as the fixed capital of a centralized monarchy. Leaving the island, we cross to the left bank, the realm of the mind. Here, on the slopes of the Montagne Sainte-Geneviève, the University of Paris has flourished since the 13th century. The area is known as the Latin Quarter, for the language of scholars. The streets are lined with colleges, the precursors to the modern university campus, where students from across Europe gather to study theology, law, and the arts. We pass the venerable Abbey of Saint-Germain-des-Prés, its Romanesque bell tower a reminder of an even older Paris, standing sentinel over the fields that once surrounded it. This left bank is a landscape of ideas, where the scholastic traditions of the Middle Ages are beginning to be challenged by the humanist texts trickling in from Italy. It is a quiet, cerebral counterpoint to the commercial frenzy of the right bank, and it is on the right bank where we find the true engine of the city's rebirth, commerce. We navigate to Les Halles, the central market established centuries earlier. This is a universe of plenty and pungency. Under vast wooden roofs, the air hums with the cries of vendors. Butchers display joints of pork and sides of beef meat for the wealthy. Poultry sellers offer chickens and geese. Fishmongers, crucial for the many fast days decreed by the church, sell herring, cod, and freshwater fish from barrels of salt. Heaps of turnips, cabbages, and leeks spill from baskets. The diet of Paris is written here in produce: coarse rye and barley bread for the poor, finer wheat bread for the well-to-do. Spices like pepper, saffron, and ginger, exorbitantly expensive imports, are sold in tiny quantities, marking the cookpots of the nobility who can afford the highly spiced, sweet sour dishes fashionable at court. This social stratification is etched into every meal. For the vast majority, a meal is a potage, a thick stew of vegetables, grains, and perhaps a scrap of bacon, cooked slowly over a communal fire in a single pot. For the merchant class aspiring to nobility, there might be roast meat seasoned with precious mustard, or a pie. At the royal table, the cuisine is a performance of power: game like venison or swan, sculpted jellies clarified with egg whites, and dishes layered with sugar and spices to display wealth and refinement. Every bite is a map of one's place in the world, governed by sumptuary laws and social custom, and it is in the shadow of this medieval market that we find the clearest physical sign of the New Age dawning. We walk west along the river, past the rebuilt city walls, to the Louvre. In the 12th century, this was a formidable fortress keep built by King Philip Augustus. But by 1500, it is transitioning into a royal residence. Then, in 1546, King Francis I makes a decision that will change Paris forever. He commissions the architect Pierre Lescot to demolish the old medieval dungeon and build a new wing in a revolutionary style. This is our key turning point. Before us, Lescot's new wing of the Louvre rises. Compare it to the flamboyant, vertical Gothic of Notre-Dame. This is different. It speaks a new language, the language of the Renaissance. The design emphasizes horizontal lines, symmetry, and precise mathematical proportion. It rejects the riotous stone foliage of Gothic for the clean lines of classical pilasters, rounded arches, and pediments drawn from ancient Roman architecture. While still decorated with sculptural reliefs, the overall effect is one of rational order, harmony, and human-scale grandeur. This is not a fortress to intimidate, nor a church to inspire awe, but a palace to celebrate the enlightened taste and power of a Renaissance monarch. Francis I, a voracious patron of the arts who brought Leonardo da Vinci to France, is using architecture to proclaim that Paris is no longer a medieval backwater, but a peer to the splendid courts of Italy. This single building encapsulates the tension and the promise of 1,500 seconds Paris. The city is still overwhelmingly Gothic, a labyrinth of faith, commerce, and medieval routine. The sounds, smells, and struggles of daily life are those of the Middle Ages. Yet, in this cornerstone laid by Francis I, we see the future. The Renaissance will not sweep the old city away overnight. Instead, it will be grafted onto it. The new aesthetic of balance and classical reference will slowly transform royal and noble building, setting a course that will eventually lead to the grand, ordered vistas of the later French classical style. As the light begins to fade, casting long shadows from the Gothic towers across the timber-framed houses, we take a final moment of reflection. The Paris of 1500 is a city in dialogue with itself. The pious height of Sainte-Chapelle converses with the rational proportion of the new Louvre. The scholastic debates of the Latin Quarter will soon engage with the humanist texts arriving from the south. The monarchy, having secured its capital, is beginning to use art and architecture as tools of statecraft. We are witnessing the end of one world and the tentative, magnificent beginning of another. The stone, the river, and the ambitions of its people are setting a trajectory that will define this city for centuries to come. The capital of the Kingdom of France is slowly awakening to a new idea of itself, not just as a fortress or a pilgrimage site, but as a center of royal power, artistic innovation, and intellectual light. The journey from here to the city we know today is long and complex, but every journey begins with a single, deliberate step. In 1500, Paris is taking that step. If you could witness another moment of a city poised between eras, where would you go? Share your suggestions for our next historical reconstruction in the comments.